What's up, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Believe in Falcons. I am your host, Will McFadden. Joining me, as always, is former Falcons fullback, Ovie Mughelli. Ovie, what's up, man? You're in Charleston. How you doing, bud?
I'm good. I'm in Chucktown. I got a chance to reconnect with some of my people in high school. Man, I'm so old. Like 20 years, not 20, 1998 I graduated. So that's more than 20 years. But I had the best time reconnecting with my people, getting to see, my friends and their kids and their careers and just catching up. But, I came down here for the day job in medical sales and got a chance to use my dad's name because in Charleston, I'm Dr. Mughelli's son. In Atlanta, he's Ovie's dad. But here, he's a big fish. Like he's every other person I talk to, he's delivered their baby or he's their doctor or, he has worked with them in some way. So. Kind of
Ovie, man, I'm gonna remind you on the one hand just how old you are, and then on the other hand, I'm gonna remind everybody else how young I am, and how little, honestly, like credibility I probably have in this space. But I was 5 years old in 1998.
Were you?
So
Jesus.
Yep.
You were 5?
I was 5 years old.
Oh,
I was born in
high school.
1993, man.
Oh, you were just figuring out how to do stuff. Wow.
I was super into Batman. I think I was getting into Pokemon right around that time, but it's all little kid stuff. But one thing that I hope everybody else gets a chance to get into, if you did not listen to our first podcast, coming back from the hiatus after I myself had a kid born in 2022. So, we're coming full circle here. OBGYNs, little babies, 1993, 1998, we're all this good stuff. So full circle, here we go. But if you did not get a chance to come full circle with our podcast, go check out that first one. It is our 10 biggest takeaways from the 2022 season. Today, we are going to get into the 6 things Ovie and I need to see from the Atlanta Falcons this offseason, a big one for Atlanta. They've got the free agency cap to make a lot of moves, another prime draft pick, a quarterback maybe in the making, and Desmond Ridder. There's so much to cover, and we're going to get into all of that. And then moving forward, we're also going to have a podcast each Wednesday throughout the offseason. And when any big news breaks or there's any big topics, like the combine, like the start of actual free agency, probably going to be popping in here and there, giving you our thoughts. But that is going to be the breakdown for what to expect moving forward. Until we get into today's show, though, Ovie, you left us with a little bit of a teaser on your fitness journey back to Ovie the Destroyer, a Marvel superhero that we all know and love. How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. And I need a little help. Go figure. The football player needs a coach. I needed somebody that was not me to help me get to where I need to be, because it's not just trying to get my 8-pack back and just for the summertime. My health. I'm 42. I want to be as healthy as possible. Cardiac and playing with these kids, and so I was like, I got to find something to help me. So my people, man Miguel at Newberty Men's Wellness League. It's on Sandy Springs Place, and it is a really amazing holistic view to help guys get their weight down. So they do everything from the testosterone to help you with these injections. I'll take all the help and assistance I can get these days. But they have great coaches and give you all the tools you need to get the weight off. So I was, and it's crazy to say, I got up to like 325 around before Christmas, before the holidays last year. And so I'm at 300 again. So the face is out a little bit. So my goal is to keep on barreling down to get to at least like a nice 260, 265, because at that point, I'm good. The whole 250, 5% body fat, those days are gone. That Ovie's not coming back. But the Ovie that can be a little more healthier and not be tired after 5 minutes playing with his 8-year-old is the one that I need to come back. So Newberty Men's Wellness League, they're a really solid organization. Definitely check them out.
Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome, man. I went out and played, actually, my wife, 6 weeks. Today was her first time back on the tennis courts.
Okay.
Just getting out, getting some exercise. In the middle, we also brought the baby, right? We have, nobody's coming over. We're not calling a babysitter to go spend 30 minutes on the tennis courts. We're just going to plop him in the stroller, take him out with us. So we brought our dog as well. I chased our dog around the tennis courts for like 5 minutes while she was, attending to a fussy baby, and I was wiped out, dude. And this was like, I was solid about this time a year ago, summer last year, and then just having a pregnant wife, kind of going through that whole dad stuff, like I became way more sedentary. So I'm right there with you. I need to get back in on this train. I need to getting going. And 2023, you and me, we're getting back to our prime fighting days. How about it?
Well, why not us? Why not now?
All right, why not now? Well, let's right now get to our conversation about the Atlanta Falcons offseason right after this. All right, Ovie. So it's hard to imagine or really remember an offseason for Atlanta that was exciting as this one. I think that maybe the 2016 offseason when they brought in Alex Mack, they had signed Andy Levitre the year before. They brought in Mohamed Sanu. It at least felt like they were making some moves to kind of make a run at things. This offseason is going to be different because it's going to be a big overhaul, I think, of a lot of the roster, and rightfully so, but it's a big transition finally from that Matt Ryan era, which you were a part of and was the most successful era in Falcons franchise history. But this offseason is honestly the start of something new. Not to quote High School Musical or anything like that, but it is the start of something new, and we'll see where it goes from here. But how excited are you for this offseason?
I'm stupid excited. I think me and all Falcons fans cannot wait for this moment. We've been praying for this. We've been asking, when can we get out of the Thomas Dimitroff purgatory that he's put us in? When can we stop being so poor and so destitute? And please, we'll take your scraps. Give us anybody. We'll take Marcus Mariota. Give us that. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's yummy. We'll take anything. And we get so excited about it sounds bad to say, but those with even a little bit of talent, like, we got ourselves a star. We don't. We're year after year rated as one of the least talented teams. Now, we work hard. These are all great guys, but they're just not starters in other places, in other teams. And we need to find guys that scare people, that intimidate people. And now we have the money to go get them. Now, of course, we'll develop our guys. And there's always diamonds out of the rough, like your Grady Jarrett's, but the majority of people who go 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round usually are that caliber of talent. But we can now draft well with an amazing GM and go get some dogs. People want to hunt. People want to win games now. So that's exciting for me. I think all Falcons Kingdom. We got a chance to do some exciting stuff this offseason.
I think I made a note of this, but I didn't actually get around to mentioning it during our first podcast. But it kind of felt like a little bit of a hallmark. Maybe hallmark is too strong of a word, but certainly a little bit of a theme of some of the later Dan Quinn teams. And maybe you could honestly say some of the Thomas Dimitroff teams after 2013, let's say. I think they inherited a really good offensive line brought in by Dan Reeves, and then Jim Mora helped bolster it. But when you arrived in Atlanta, the offensive line was solid. You had Todd McClure, Harvey Dahl, Todd Weiner was still there, Justin Blaylock, Keenan Forney. I like all those guys.
Tyson Clabo, Wake Forest, Tyson Clabo.
There you go. It was rock solid. And then I think that the knock against the Falcons became a talented team that underperforms. What I think we're seeing from Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot so far is a less talented team that overperforms. So absolutely. I'm very excited to see what they get to do when they get to pick and choose the guys who are supposed to be those kind of name brand talented guys in the league. If they get somebody like a Levante David, who has been in this division in Tampa Bay, is like a Demario Davis in New Orleans, who Terry Fontenot had a big hand in bringing over from the New York Jets to New Orleans and has been an all-pro there in New Orleans. They get Levante David here in Atlanta, somebody like that. That's kind of what I'm expecting this offseason for the Falcons, which is what really makes it exciting for me. So, I think when we look at just in terms of off seasons, this one should rank up there over the last couple of decades for excitement for this fan. So is there and he needs to be wary, though, of winning the offseason. Because a lot of teams that win the offseason don't end up doing so well during the year.
No, I mean, I think we don't have to win by the public standards. We have to win by our standards, and it's going to be a little bit different. So it may not be the flashiest player, but it's going to be the best player for what we need in that position and the best player for what we can afford. And we can afford a whole bunch, but we have dire needs and we have strong needs and we have needs. And so it's only Terry Fontenot that can be able to decipher how much to spend in each category. You ask me, I'm like, put it all in the trenches. Let's go. You win with them big boys. Like we're great. But the O-line, we talked about it last pod. They're good. I feel pretty good about our offensive line. Yeah. We got Pro Bowlers and all that. Now, D-line, give Grady some help. So I don't know if we're ready to jump into it.
We'll get there.
It's something to where I just feel like they're going to be talking about this offseason for a long time, good or bad, because this is a huge opportunity. I think we have the second most, not the most, like second most money in the whole NFL. Yep. Everyone wants to see what we're going to do with it. Don't mess it up.
Don't mess it up. Terry Fontenot, here we go. And let's make it happen. But yes, you're right. Second most as of now, more possibly to come if they make some cap casualties like a Marcus Mariota. Remains to be seen. But let's just kick things off. It sounds like you're raring to get going and what we need to see this offseason. If you don't mind, I will start things off since you started things off the first time around. So
that's fair.
I'm really excited because I want to actually let you talk a lot about this as a former NFL offensive player. But to me, Atlanta's offense needs a shadow operative. They have Kyle Pitts. They have Drake London. They have Tyler Algier. They need somebody who the defense is not going to pay attention to and is going to absolutely make them pay because they don't.
Yeah.
I need somebody like a Wes Welker, maybe a Hunter Renfrow, maybe somebody like, a Tyler Boyd in Cincinnati or a Chris Godwin over in Tampa. Like somebody, honestly, I'm upset that Calvin Ridley is not here anymore. There's a lot that goes into that decision that we don't have to get into, but he's kind of exactly what I'm thinking is this guy who, hey, when you're focused on all of these mismatches, here's a guy who just wins his matchup. Here's a guy who just wins against whoever you're going to throw against him. Is that what the Falcons are missing, Ovie?
Absolutely. My Calvin was Harry Douglas.
Yeah, 100%.
So
yep.
That was a guy when Roddy and Julio were doing their things. Harry Douglas is like, you can forget about me if you want to, but I'm catching this first down. I'm getting 10 more. You can forget about me if you want to, but I'm shaking this DB out of his boots and catching this touchdown. And Harry made it to where you couldn't really double Julio and Roddy and take care of Tony. Like you couldn't. You couldn't do what you wanted to do because everybody was a threat, and even our players who some didn't think of as Pro Bowl caliber still were positive yardage guys. So I think it'd be absolutely nice to get one of those guys. I don't know if it's necessary. I don't know if it's our strongest need.
Well, that's why it's number 3. That's why it's number 3.
Yeah. Well, I think it's something that we absolutely can benefit from. So I think that's a great pick. It's a great pick because, injuries happen too. And if one of our big guys go down, Drake or Kyle or somebody, we do not want to be digging through the second, third, fourth string. Somebody step up. Can anybody step up? Can anybody fill that role? We want to have somebody that not only is he flying under the radar, but every now and then when you need him to step up and make some big plays, he's not afraid to do that, which Calvin and Harry weren't afraid to either.
I think Harry is a great pick. And, dude, we need to have Harry Douglas on this podcast. What are we doing? We are an Atlanta Falcons podcast. Harry Douglas is in the media market. Harry Douglas, if you listen to this podcast, come on, man. We want to have you on here.
I saw Harry at we did a Falcons alumni flag football game. And it was Harry and me. We were leading different teams, and I didn't even try to play. He got into the game, was running around crazy, and like, oh, we cover Harry. I'm like, cover who? I'm not covering Harry. Fullback, wide receiver. Fullback, wide receiver. and he's still in shape, so he was running around like crazy. But no, we'll definitely have him on. He had a great career and is doing a great job on the national media stage.
Absolutely. All right, Ovie, what is your number 3 on what the Falcons need to do this offseason?
Oh man, the Falcons. I was going to, I kind of tipped my hat already, but as far as the number 3, we're starting from least to best. Yep. I think they need a big man inside with Grady Jarrett. They absolutely, because I love the trenches, I love the big men, but you need a guy who's going to swallow up some offensive linemen so Grady Jarrett can beat Grady Jarrett all the time, not just flashes, not just, every now and then. Grady Jarrett will be able to be twice as effective if you got a big boy that's taking up 2 offensive linemen and that can really help with the run game, and let Grady be the quick and the effective and the team leader he wants to be, rather than Grady trying to be all things to all people. I see him in there. He can every now and then play the role of the space eater and hold 2 guys up. But after a while, third, fourth quarter, Grady's not built like a 320-pound, Haloti Ngata or Ndamukong Suh or
Dontari Poe, that type of
or,
Vince Wilfork.
That guy. Like that's not quite his game.
Warren Sapp.
Yep. Yeah, what's the Tampa Bay defensive lineman that we talked about, like our first podcast? He picked up 2 guys.
Vita Vea.
Vita Vea. Yeah, he's a monster. We need one of those guys. If we can find someone with that build, with a proven track record of success, not somebody who's just big and doesn't know how to use their body, but someone who's big and can move and has the football IQ to be able to know when to 2-gap, when to cut the gap, how to run block or make them switch length, all that stuff. I would love to have a plug-and-play guy to help out Grady, because he's not getting younger, and he's too talented and too good for us not to be giving him the help he needs.
100%. I could not agree with you more. Not to, it's a slight addendum to what will be number 1 on my list, but the defense needs help, right? And I did write down some defensive tackles who are going to be prime free agents. Javon Hargrave, Deron Payne, those are more like similar to Grady Jarrett. Yeah. Those are more the 3 technique, kind of 1-gap defensive tackles. Dalvin Tomlinson, nose tackle-ish, kind of 0 technique, 1 technique, who would play alongside Grady from Minnesota. He's somebody I would keep an eye on, but absolutely agree with you. The only thing that may throw a wrench in that is Ryan Nielsen now coming over from New Orleans, where they do traditionally run that more of a 4-3, and maybe they don't need that nose tackle that Dean Pease always had. But Arthur Smith says he wants to be multiple. So maybe they still need that guy, because they have Taquan Graham, who is a solid kind of other 3 technique, however they want to use Grady. But I completely agree. Just add dogs to the defensive line. You can't have enough of them, right? Why not? All right, number 2 on my list is that the Falcons need to bring in a veteran quarterback to push Desmond Ritter. There are so many mid-tier quarterbacks that could just be had by Atlanta right now. Like, if you just want to go get a Derek Carr or a Jimmy Garoppolo or a Geno Smith or a Jacoby Brissett, like those are exactly what you need in this offense to push a rookie quarterback who showed signs of improvement, but is still probably like right at that level with all of those guys. So go get one to either make him better or figure out that he's not enough, and do that in camp and just get a measuring gauge. Like, that's what the Falcons need, because they saw a good progression from Desmond Ritter. Now they need to go say, okay, here's an Alex Smith type. Here is somebody who is just really, really good at what they do. A Ryan Fitzpatrick, a Ryan Tannehill, somebody just is baseline competent we can win with. Desmond, how do you do with him in camp? Let's see. If you can't beat him, cool, we got that guy. And now we need to win games because we have other talent around us. Let's get a competent guy in here. That's what they need to do. Not draft a quarterback. No. Get somebody they can win with in 2023, and that's going to be one of these veteran journeyman quarterbacks.
It'll be such a mistake to draft a quarterback. Oh, you're going to have 2 young quarterbacks, a 22-year-old, a 23-year-old, a 21. Like, what are you doing?
Tug of war in camp to see who gets the starting job? What are you doing?
So you said a mid-tier quarterback, but Garoppolo, Derek Carr, Geno, especially how Geno played last year, that's not elite, but those are upper-tier quarterbacks that we would love to get. I would love to get those guys. It's like Marcus Mariota type of, oh, we got a veteran quarterback. No, we got veteran quarterbacks who won games, who've been to Super Bowls, who, have been won playoff games.
Derek Carr was in the running for MVP in 2016.
Insane. Absolutely insane. So I think that would be the smartest thing. And I would get so excited if we were able to pull that off, because that would give our man some more time. Now, he wouldn't like it. Desmond Ridder wouldn't like it because he thinks he can be the guy, and he probably can. But there's a probably there. We want to see if he can, and if he can't, we need a backup plan. We need something that, all right, maybe you need another year. Maybe you need another year to cook. Maybe, simmer a little bit, broil, and get those juices flowing and understand how this game works. Because I don't want to say he didn't have the help of a veteran quarterback, but, Mariota dipped. When it came time to coach up Ridder, he was like, deuces. I'll see you later. Good luck, young buck, but not really, because I'm going to go deal with this baby. And God bless him. Hopefully, enjoys his time. I'm really curious to see. I said it last year. If he planned on coming back to the NFL, that may not have been the smartest move to encourage other teams to see that whole teamwork and dedication thing ringing true. But if he's done, then hey, I get it. If you already are hanging up the cleats, what are you doing staying around here? Especially if you got a new baby, you want to celebrate that. All right, cool. Do you?
Right.
So we'll see what's going to happen there. But I think Ridder can really benefit from a top tier from a above average quarterback that can come in here. There you go. Experienced guy can come in here in the league, and help him understand how to do QB1.
Yes, I think that you can make an argument, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe because I think Matt Schaub was traded in 2007 or 2008.
Schaub there? I think Schaub, he might have been there. No. Yeah, so maybe he got rid of him, I think, in before the season started, because during the season,
I think it was pre-2007, and then to Houston So my point is, Matt Schaub was as important to Matt Ryan's development as anybody in the Falcons building. And I will say that over and over again, because I think that Matt Schaub played such a role in helping Matt Ryan learn Kyle Shanahan's scheme, and then also being eyes and ears for him on the sideline, in the building, just his development. And maybe that's overstating, because Matt Ryan obviously is a great quarterback in and of his own, but it's very uncommon to have a quarterback as good as Matt Ryan with a backup as competent as Matt Schaub, who has seen the things that Matt Ryan has seen, playoff games, big situations that a quarterback has to go through, limited talent around him, great talent around him, great offensive line, bad offensive line, like everything. Matt Schaub was a starting quarterback for a while and set records in Houston. Then to go just be a backup for 6 years for Matt Ryan, like that's so invaluable. That's kind of what Desmond Ridder needs. And so that's kind of what I'm getting at, is give him that tool Monday through Friday to get better that he didn't necessarily have while he was the starter here in Atlanta this season, unfortunately. But I've spent enough time on my number two. What's your number two, Ovie?
My number two is we talked a lot about how hyped up AJ Terrell was, and how he didn't perform up to the hype, but still did great. I don't want to put it all on AJ Terrell. I want another quarterback that can be again, we're going with the veteran experience, competent quarterback that can not help AJ, because AJ's been fine by himself, but he's human, and I want him to feel like he has to do it all by himself all the time when it comes to locking this down, following this guy, being the the end all be all for the defensive secondary. I want him to feel like, this brother right here has been good in the league, above average for a long time, and I got somebody I can talk to, not having him having to, again, nothing wrong with being a leader, because he's one of the best, he's the face of the franchise, but having somebody he can speak to and talk to and connect with, communicate with, that he knows is going to be consistently, above average. Again, I'll need to get a Pro Bowl type of cornerback, but to find somebody who's been a winner in the league and help him out, I think that really helped out the defense.
I completely agree, and it's why I was so excited last offseason when the Falcons signed Casey Hayward. And obviously he went down with I believe it was a pec injury, kind of like early in the season. And that's not a devastating injury, they have him on a 2-year deal. If they decide to bring him back, again, it's just kind of a, hey, let's run it back. Last year didn't go the way we wanted it to, but he's been such a good corner throughout his career that maybe last year was a fluke. Like, I'm willing to buy into that, but I also get your point. I also totally understand if Falcons want to go find kind of a, hey, let's go get maybe another number one to put as our number two, because that's kind of the way the league is going. Is there's so much passing today, and there's so many mismatches, and we move guys all around the field that just having like 2 number ones where you can be like, here's one, and wherever you want to go with your guys, we got somebody there who's going to lock them down. That's smart, man. It's smart football, and I would not be surprised. I think that there's definitely some free agents out there with Jerry Gray coming over from Green Bay, and now you've got Ryan Nielsen coming from New Orleans. There's some cornerbacks. There's some definitely guys in the secondary with connections to those two. You might be onto something here. I definitely don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility that Atlanta adds to their secondary this offseason.
Yep.
All right. So my number one, and we're going to stick with the defense, but I need to see a defense heavy free agency class, and I need it to be led by a premier pass rusher. And whether that is in the draft, because it's not a great free agency class. I know I just like let all of that off with like free agency and pass rusher, but not the best free agency class for pass rushers. However, the big asterisk right next to that is Marcus Davenport from the Saints is the biggest free agent on the market. You have Terry Fontenot from New Orleans as your general manager. You just signed as your defensive coordinator the former defensive line coach / defensive like assistant head coach in Ryan Nielsen. If they cannot land Marcus Davenport here in Atlanta, that either means that they don't want him, that they're like, no, we're good. We saw him for a few years. He's not that good. Or something went horribly wrong. But I think that he's young. He has upside. He's not played poorly. I mean, he's got clear connections here. He would be somebody, if they decide to bring him in as like, hey, he's going to be our number one. We're banking on him. We're making him our prime guy. Awesome. But there's some other guys. Kyle Van Noy would have made more sense, I think, under a Dean P scheme, but he's that linebacker edge. Ryan Nielsen said they were going to be really creative with their blitzes. They can come from all over that second level, third level. Kyle Van Noy can kind of do that. Agbania Okoronkwo from Houston finished the season really strong. He's young as well. Those are 3 guys that, just as doing some preliminary research, I would be interested in as an edge position guy. But there's a lot of really cool defensive free agents. I just need to see them like spend $50 million of that like $56 million that they have in free agency money on the defense. Just go revamp your defense, guys.
They absolutely need to. And, I was going to say, you know what? Let me change my pick because that was my pick as well. A linebacker, but no, like the truth of the matter is every Falcons fan knows that we need a defensive stud. We need a straight stallion that walks out there, trots out there, and just is somebody people are afraid of. Like, God damn, I blocked John Abraham today. Like he's going to come after me, or I got to block, a Michael Strahan-esque type of a monster. Like I got. No one has been afraid of a Falcon pass rusher since, I think, really John Abraham. And even when Vic Beasley was getting sacks, people weren't afraid of him. They're probably confused. Like, how is he doing this? What is going on? He's 44. I mean, but I want someone to strike fear into the offenses. Vic Beasley, nice guy.
You're just like, Joe Flacco, stop tripping. You're letting him touch you.
Exactly. It's, people don't fear Flacco or Beasley, but they will fear whoever we get. And here's I'm trying to figure out draft or free agency. Draft or free agency. I always love free agency because you see what they've done in the NFL.
Right.
The draft. Yep. You're great in college, and you might be good in the NFL. You might be great.
Projection.
You might be terrible.
Yep.
So I'd rather not guess on that very, very number one important position. The guys you mentioned, all great candidates. I'm saying, like, shoot for the stars. Spend the majority of our money on that. Figure out who's the best, ask them what they want, and give it to them. because it's going to be worth it to not have us in the bottom. And I repeat, the bottom of the league year after year when it comes to sacks and pressures and rushes.
First off, spoken like a former free agent. Give them all the money they need. Give them all the money they're worth.
Give it to
them. But also, yeah, I mean, that's Terry Fontenot's philosophy, right? Your good friend Terry is we're going to address needs in free agency because we know what these guys can do at the NFL level. And I think that makes a lot of sense. You know, it's we're going to plug the holes, the immediate holes, with guys that we know can actually plug these holes instead of guys we hope can plug these holes. So totally agree with you there. I mean, I think that given the strides made on offense, I think the belief that we both have in Arthur Smith to be able to get the most out of the offense, regardless of maybe the personnel, because he's shown it with varying levels of personnel talent.
Yeah.
On defense, you kind of just need dudes. And that's kind of the last question I want to ask you, Ovie, is what is it like if you can put your Falcons helmet back on and during the week, game planning against a team that does not have a defensive player that you have to actually focus on every single snap versus a guy that does, you know, maybe playing a Julius Peppers versus a team that doesn't have anybody like that.
Oh my gosh. It's night and day because it affects not only what we do as individual players, but it affects the play calling and it affects situational football when we're in short yardage, we're in the red zone. Like, we change everything to figure out this play is our best play. It'll work, but only if Peppers is over there, or only if he's on the right side, or only.
Do you have to scrap plays because certain guys are on the field?
We absolutely have to have kill switches. Like, you know, we'll have a run play, kill to pass, a pass play, kill to run, because, you know, if they're our number one linebacker that we're afraid of is in the A gap, like, he's gonna rush. We got to get to the play. But if we're running right into the teeth of Julius Peppers, we're like, this is not going to work because the tackle can't block him by himself. Two people have trouble moving him. They're just lucky to keep him on the line of scrimmage. We're not going to run that way and have three guys. Well, let's just cut him and run the other way. So we have to either kill it from left to right or kill it from run the pass. And that isn't an issue when you just have guys out there, which the Falcons have always had, just guys who work hard outside of, you know, Grady Jarrett and A.J. Terrell. But teams didn't fear us. Teams didn't have to have special offenses or kill switches or kill plays to play against us. They just said, we're going to line up and we're probably bigger, faster, stronger than you, and we're going to wear you down. So third, fourth quarter, you get tired of tackling us and we're falling forward and getting 4 yards of carry and game's over. You know, we ran out the clock. So that's typically how people have been treating the Falcons, and I'm hoping that with the big defensive tackles to help Grady, and, you know, with another great quarterback to make them think twice about throwing on us, and getting some edge rushers, like you mentioned, throw all that money to defense. We can sprinkle in a Harry Douglas, Calvin Ridley type of player. But outside of that, O-line straight, get us a nice little veteran quarterback, and offense is good. It's a defense that's constantly been dragging us down. It's always been the defense that is the reason, for the most part, that we lose games or can't stay in the games. I just need help with that defense because Tyler Algier could be offense enough for anybody. If we got a strong defense and a run game, you can win games with a quarterback who just doesn't turn the ball over. And a veteran quarterback or Ritter, hopefully, they'll be good enough to be, I think, careful with the ball and make sure that they're not the reason we lose games. And then let the O and the D line just show why they're there.
I mean, you look at San Francisco, right? Just made it to the NFC Championship game. They did it basically based on their defense, and they did it kind of game managing-ish. You know, they had Brock Purdy. Like, I think Brock Purdy was awesome as a rookie, but I'm not ready to say Brock Purdy is Patrick Mahomes. You know, I'm not ready to say that he's a dynamic quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. If you can build at least one identity that your team can win with, that's awesome. And the Falcons had that with their run game and their offense, but I think it's better if your defense is your identity and then you can be creative with your offense and kind of be, you know, a little bit experimental. I think that's how Arthur Smith would like to ultimately be. We'll see if they can do that this offseason, but you and I are on the exact same page. Defense in 2023. hit it home, get Grady some help, get AJ Terrell some help.
Yeah.
Let's see what they can do. But Ovie, you got any final comments before we get out of here on our first time back, since the 2022 season?
Yeah, man. No, I think there's so much hope, and we say that every year. Every fan base wants to hope. All they have is hope, because
you've said that every year. You've said that every year.
No, sir, you kind of agreed with me. But no, it was I wouldn't even say hope. The last couple of years, we were just like, we're going to be better than 2 games, and we were right. We're just better than 2 games. We were desperate for something, but this year, I think it's not even like just wishing, hoping, and dreaming. Like, it's here. We got like a chance to do some exciting stuff.
Yep.
So I can leave people with is that buckle up, get ready. It's going to be a fun offseason.
Yeah, it's like when you draw an Uno hand and you've got like a couple of skips, a couple of wild cards, a couple of draw 4s, and you're like, all right, I can make something work with this. I can make this happen. It's where the Falcons are. If you don't play Uno, you don't get that reference. I barely play Uno. I don't know why I pulled that out of my
you did.
You know what, for that reference, but hey, there you go. We're live podding. We're coming back. All of us are fresh. We're ready to go. So thank you guys so much for listening. Today's podcast, as always, was presented by Bet Online. If you got any questions or comments for Ovie and I, or any off-season questions, draft questions, shoot them over to us. Believe in Falcons, BLEAV @gmail.com. You can follow Ovie on Twitter @Ovie Mughelli 34. You can follow me @Will McFadden. Please let people know about the podcast. We've got a lot of draft and free agency conversation coming up. Starting next week on Wednesday, I will be talking with Trevor Sikkema of Pro Football Focus, getting a rundown of all of the draft, kind of the strengths and weaknesses, the strategy with which teams might approach it. So we get an idea of what the Falcons could do in the first round, second round, third round, beyond, things like that. So going to really break it all down this offseason. So stay tuned to the feed. But thank you guys so much for listening today. As always, for Ovie and I, it's been a blast, and we'll see you next time. Take care.